A week has passed since we saw with our own eyes that a new Mario Kart game was on the way. And still, every time I watch the trailer, I can't help but geek out and speculate what we have in store for this game. It's been 11 years since we last got a truly new game, and that means anything goes. This will by far and away be the biggest shakeup to the series we've seen in ages. Since getting Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and seeing all 12 of these cups in their glory, I thought it would be a shame to just have 4 cups dedicated to retro tracks. So I will be repurposing the Egg and Bell Cups from the original Mario Kart 8 DLC and turning them into Retro Cup Grand Prix. Together, these 6 cups will be filled out with pseudoscience and false logic to accurately predict what I believe the 24 retro tracks of Mario Kart 9 will be. Or Mario Kart 10, or Mario Kart Cross, or I have no clue what this game is called. Anyways, let's get started. This is Mac from the Switch Stop, and today let's predict the retro tracks of the new Mario Kart game. Alright, what's our criteria? If we want this prediction to have any logic behind it, we need to have some sort of criteria. So I've created a few rules I will have to follow to make this prediction realistic and not mayhem. Firstly, I will have no retro tracks from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This includes both base game retro tracks and tracks found in the Booster Course Pass. We've all played these tracks a billion times at this point, and bringing them back would just feel like a wasted spot. Secondly, no cup shall have more than 1 track from each game. This has been a rule since Mario Kart DS, when there were only 4 past games. So if they could do it then, they can do it now. Also, I know this rule was kind of broken in the Booster Course Pass, but the Booster Course Pass was weird. They were changing track orders up until the last day, so we really shouldn't be paying much attention to that. Third, I will try to follow the logic of each of these cups to the best of my ability. This includes difficulty and track progression. For example, since the Lightning Cup for the past 2 games has ended with a Rainbow Road track, this one will as well. I'll go into more depth about each game's specific logic when we get to that cup. But basically, I'm trying to recreate the feeling those cups had in past games with new retro tracks. 4. No game homage tracks. I think those can stay in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and I'm just not sure if they will fit the vibe of the new game, so I want to stand clear of those. And our 5th and final rule is no overlapping themes in one cup. That means no 2 snowy tracks can appear in the same cup, nor 2 tracks named after the same character. It's pretty simple guidelines, so let's do this. The Shell Cup is the first retro cup, which means it's a beginner-friendly cup. It should scale in difficulty, starting with a stupid simple first track and ending with a unique but still somewhat easy final track. To start us off, we will be starting with 3DS Mario Circuit. This was the first track of the Flower Cup in Mario Kart 7, and it's a fairly easy but fun track. Whether it be driving through Peach's castle or watching as beautiful cherry blossoms fall on the track, this course would be a great tone setter for the retro tracks in this game. Next, we have a track from Mario Kart DS that was last seen in Mario Kart Wii. That, of course, is the wonderful Yoshi Falls. This track is fairly simple, basically just an oval, but it's got immaculate theming and also a bit of skill sprinkled in there through the waterfall mushroom cuts. Our first track from Mario Kart 8 might come as a surprise to you all, but it should be a welcome addition. That is Thwomp Ruins. Thwomp Ruins is the final track of the Shell Cup in Mario Kart 8. It's a great track for beginners and veterans, with plenty of hard and easy ways to make up time. It's got a super underutilized theme that nails it first try, and is an all-around great theme. Then finally, our last track in the Shell Cup should come as no surprise to you all. The biggest snub of the Booster Course Pass, in my opinion, is Toad's Factory. Toad's Factory was the final track of the Mushroom Cup in Mario Kart Wii, and is the perfect blend of simple and creative. It's not an overly difficult course, but it does have some challenge that is necessary for the end of the cup. It's also got maybe my favorite theming of a track ever, with the track showing you how item boxes are made. As we saw in the Booster Course Pass, Nintendo knows what courses are fan favorites. So if this game has retro tracks, I would say this is the biggest lock to return. So that's our Shell Cup. 3DS Mario Circuit, Yoshi Falls, Thwomp Ruins, and Toad's Factory. Now, let's move over to the Banana Cup. Now, the Banana Cup I wouldn't quite consider tough, but this is where the dial starts to get turned. These tracks are more based on creativity rather than teaching the players how to play the game. This is where we can get a little bit funky. The goal of the cup is to graduate players from easier to harder tracks. The first track I chose was Shy Guy Bazaar from Mario Kart 7. It was the final track of the game's Mushroom Cup. and is in my opinion a great tone setter for this cup. It's a super unique setting, one we haven't seen since, and it's a track with a lot of charm. It's one that I believe would extremely benefit from an HD remake, and I would be stoked to see it in a new game. The second track of the Banana Cup for the past 3 games has been a major overhaul of a track from a 2D Mario Kart. So I decided to stick with that trend here, and chose the only setting from Super Mario Kart that has yet to have seen a remake, and that is Vanilla Lake. Specifically, I chose Vanilla Lake 2. As we saw in Mario Kart 8, Nintendo did some magic for these older tracks. They didn't just remake them like in past games, but reimagined them for a new generation. Vanilla Lake 2 is the exact track that would benefit from this reimagining. The track in Super Mario Kart is just a circle around a cracked frozen lake. However, incorporating water and gliding mechanics from modern games could drastically make this course something new and exciting to drive on. The third track I chose was GBA Luigi Circuit. This track was last remade in Mario Kart DS, but has so much more potential to be explored in a new game. The gimmick behind this track is that it is raining, and I could see this being an easier version of Neo Bowser City, and being one of the most gorgeous tracks to race on in the game. Then finally, our last track of the Banana Cup will be our second from Mario Kart 8, and that is Sunshine Airport. Sunshine Airport was the first track in the Star Cup in Mario Kart 8, and bumping it to the end of the Banana Cup doesn't seem too far-fetched to me. They have plenty of fun shortcuts here, as well as just some of the best music in the series' history, which is saying something. It's a well-liked track that would be thrilling and beautiful to end off this Grand Prix. So our Banana Cup is Shy Guy Bazaar, Vanilla Lake 2, GBA Luigi Circuit, and Sunshine Airport. The Leaf Cup is where we can start getting experimental. All barriers to entry have been crossed, and it's time to select some truly immaculate tracks. The general logic for this cup is just select some unique and thrilling tracks. Track 1 is Dino Dino Jungle. Dino Dino Jungle last appeared in Mario Kart 7 in the Lightning Cup. And while it might sound ridiculous to put a Lightning Cup track at position 1 of the Leaf Cup, I don't actually think it's that difficult. It's no more difficult than Wario Stadium in Mario Kart 8, so I don't think we need to worry about it. It is a fan favorite track that has yet to be put in HD, so not putting it in would be criminal. Track 2 of the Leaf Cup will actually be our first tour track, or switch track. I'm not quite sure how they'll label it here, but nonetheless, it's Squeaky Clean Sprint. I considered all the other Booster Course original tracks, but when it came down to it, it was Squeaky Clean or Yoshi's Island. And while I love Yoshi's Island, it reminded me too much of those other game homage tracks in 8 Deluxe. And since I won't be putting those in, I was left with the next best option, and that was Squeaky Clean Sprint. For track 3, I chose Wii Bowser Castle. Unfortunately, because of the Booster Course Pass taking all the best Wii tracks, I was left with slim pickings for that game. But this track is an absolute masterpiece, and one that has yet to have been remade at this point. Not putting this track in would be a tragedy. Then finally, maybe the most controversial pick in this video, this game needs N64 Wario Stadium. It's the only N64 track yet to have been remade, and that's kind of for good reason. It's so long, and for no reason other than to just be super long. In my opinion, I think it's time. This track is a gauntlet of stamina and endurance, and to end the Leaf Cup with this track would just be incredible to say the least. The Leaf Cup will include Dino Dino Jungle, Squeaky Clean Sprint, Wii Bowser's Castle, and N64 Wario Stadium. Here we are, the Lightning Cup, the finale of the Retro Cup circuit. This Grand Prix is guns a-blazing and has some of the most relentless and rewarding tracks in the game. This cup marks the end of the game in some regard, so it needs to feel like an epic conclusion. We'll start this cup with Super Bell Subway from the Mario Kart 8 DLC. This track is claustrophobic and requires high levels of focus. This track isn't really about shortcuts and saving time. Instead, it's about trying to not lose time. These subway trains come at you fast, and if you're not on high alert, you're going to be in for a bad time. Our second track has not actually appeared on a main console Mario Kart before. It was actually the only Nitro track from Mario Kart Tour that didn't make it over the bridge to the Booster Course Pass. If you're not familiar with this track, that's alright. Let me introduce you to Piranha Plant Pipeline. This track is similar to Piranha Plant Slide, taking place all inside these pipes. I'm gonna be honest, I've never played this track, but that's just because I don't play Mario Kart Tour. But I think including it would be a great new addition, and it would be nice if all of the Tour tracks were finally able to make their way to main console games. There's no reason this should have been left behind. Then, our third track in the Special Cup is going to be DS Airship Fortress. The outrage online when this didn't get into the Booster Course Pass was definitely loud enough for Nintendo to hear. The theming of this track is so stunning, and seeing what they could do with this in a modern-day HD remake would bring a tear to a grown man's eye. Then finally, which Rainbow Road did I choose? Super Circuit, DS, or Double Dash? Yeah, that's pretty easy. I went with Double Dash. I understand that they've been doing some magic with some of these older tracks, but come on, we want Double Dash's Rainbow Road. This track is gorgeous. The little details on here, like Mushroom City below, show just how much love was put into this track, and seeing it blown up with Switch 2 graphics would make me scream. So there we have it. Our Lightning Cup will consist of Super Bell Subway, Piranha Plant Pipeline, Airship Fortress, and GameCube Rainbow Road. That might be the finale, but we've still got 2 more cups to go. Let's do this. For these final 2 cups, I'll be looking at them as post-game bonuses. There's nothing to really base these off of, as these cups in Mario Kart 8 were just DLC cups, so that means I've gotta wing it here. For the Egg Cup, I chose to make the theme reimagining. All these tracks will be drastically different from their original appearance, with new takes on their tracks never seen before. Our first track is Mushroom City, a fairly tame initial track with one major difference from its GameCube counterpart. It's snowing. We have yet to see a snow track set in a city before. Using the convoluted concrete jungle of Mushroom City would be insanely cool, and I could also see it snowing lightly during the first lap and getting even denser and more slippery as the race progresses. Track number 2 is Lakeside Park. This is a super circuit course set near a volcano that gets more and more precarious as the race goes on. All they need to do here is give it the Cheeseland treatment. Just make it gorgeous, and this is already a top 5 track in Mario Kart history. Track 3 is Banshee Boardwalk. The last time this was remade was in Mario Kart DS, but we can do better than that. What makes this course so spooky is its pitch black skybox. Now, for this game, instead of it being nighttime, let's make it midday and sunny. I want the vibe of this course to be the inside of a haunted house during the day. I want there to be a hint of danger, but also a hint of comedy about just how stupid ghosts are. I want to make this track as goofy as possible and make it the antithesis of what this original track was trying to do. Let's make a goofy ghost course making fun of ghost themes. Finally, track 4. The Great and Powerful Mount Wario. Perhaps the most praised course in the series. Mount Wario is a point-to-point track taking you from the summit all the way down to the bottom of the ski mountain. However, you can only ski during the winter. That's why, with this rendition of Mount Wario, we'll be turning up the heat and melting all the snow. That's right, I'm gonna make Mount Wario a summer track. During the summer, most ski resorts turn their mountains into mountain bike paradises. And that's exactly what I want to turn Mount Wario into. You'll start towards the top where some snow caps will still remain, and quickly you'll be thrown down into a wooded mountain bike paradise, with paths, jumps, and wooden railings to help you pick up speed. I'm not quite sure how they improve Mount Wario, as the track is already perfect, but putting a spin on it is something that I can definitely get behind. So looking back, the tracks I chose for the Egg Cup were Mushroom City, Lakeside Park, Banshee Boardwalk, and Mount Wario. Then finally, our last cup. We've made it. The theme of this cup is just to put as many fan favorites in here as possible, something that people want to unlock and play. The first track I chose was DS Bowser Castle. While it feels a bit weird to put this as the first track in a cup, I think it's actually perfect. It's one of those more unusual Bowser Castle courses, as it's fairly easy, yet has lots of fun mechanics. Branching paths, metal carousels, jumps over lava, it's got it all. This is a track that I think would benefit from a remake, and in my opinion is the perfect start to the Bell Cup. Then, you know what? We're gonna have GBA Rainbow Road. After this, the Switch 2 will have all the Rainbow Road Infinity Stones spread over 2 games, except for Rainbow Road DS. We'll have to wait for DLC. While they could hit us with a faithful remake like the SNES one, screw that. Give us the most off-the-wall remake imaginable. I want elevation changes, I want anti-grav, and I want whatever this game's gimmick is going to be injected directly into this track. The world is their oyster when it comes to remaking this Super Circuit Rainbow Road. So give it everything and more. Number 3, and maybe my most requested track in the game, is Woohoo Loop. Now I know you're saying technically this is an homage track, but I'm gonna break that rule just for a second. This course is it's just perfect. The shortcuts here are insane, the views are immaculate, and all around, it's just a beautiful track that in HD would actually make me cry. Point-to-point tracks are usually saved for the end of cups, and while I think this one may deserve the end of cup treatment, there is only one perfect way to send off this game. And that, my friends, is Wario Coliseum. Wario Coliseum is a juggernaut of a course. In Double Dash, it was a 2-lap Hell in a Cell marathon of twisting, turning, corkscrews, and etc. Now imagine that with 24 other racers. This track is the exact mayhem this game needs, and is the best way to end this game. So to finish off this game's retro tracks, in the Bell Cup, I chose DS Bowser Castle, GBA Rainbow Road, Woohoo Loop, and Wario Coliseum. However, these were just the tracks I wanted to see in the next Mario Kart. Let me know in the comments below what tracks you'd like to see. And be sure to check out our massive 3-hour video ranking the top 100 Nintendo games next Friday. Anyways, take care, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.